a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day.
What is going on, guys? It's Adam aka Marf. Today, we have a whole lot to tell you in a short amount of time, so stick around. We have Russia in the Arctic building up military, and then, of course, China amassing in the South China Sea, and, of course, they're telling us nothing is going on. Just go back to sleep. Hit that snooze button. We'll be right back.
Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day.
Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the team, including our mods. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. All right. What is going on, guys? It is Adam aka Marf, and today's show is packed full of stories. So if you want to follow along, you can go to marfugelnews.com, where we take the time before every single live show to actually put all of the news, every single tweet, every single video, every single document right here on the website. So you can actually grab a second device, grab a second phone or a tablet, and you can follow along. Or you can go back retrospectively and check our work. All of our sources are there, a bibliography of sorts right there on the website, marfugelnews.com. From the sea to the ice, we have a problem is right here. It says troubling developments. And honestly, I'm going to talk about a couple things in a second here, but somebody said, quit the BS fear-mongering. Guess what? That is a snooze button if I've ever seen one. Right now, there is all sorts of things happening all over the world, and most people are just laser-guided on their 9-to-5 or just surviving, and I understand that. But as well, to say that those that are keeping track, to say it's all fear-mongering and to be afraid, I'm not trying to make anyone afraid. The point is to get it across that there are real big moves happening right now. And those big moves are not a sci-fi book. Those are not BS. Guess what? These are real things happening. Just like when we said there was going to be the next demic, right? The pan that happened to everybody, and everybody is still going through, and now they're, jib-jabbing, all that kind of stuff. All of that was 4 months before this happened. A whole month we dedicated to the fact that WHO, everybody else, we showed you data saying this is going to happen. We showed you Timothy Cunningham, cat, dog, cat, all this kind of stuff that happened beforehand. And we said, this something is coming. Something is coming. Proof, it's huge. It's huge. We did not know how huge that was. Global, on a global scale. So if you didn't think that something global on a global scale could happen, well, guess what? It already has. And it has changed the way that the world has worked. So from the inside out, everything has changed around you, and it's not going to go back to normal. This is the new normal, and it's nowhere close to normal. So just remember that next time you're saying that this next stuff is BS. Well, guess what? All of these other countries are preparing. You have every one of our adversaries basically beefing up, moving stuff, amassing troops. And this isn't just your average, like, we're doing a drill over here, doing a drill over there. We even have the U.S. doing a very, very specific drill and a simulation in which we lost. The United States lost. It said we would lose fast if they did it this way. And guess what? They're not above doing it that way. That way, that simulation that they did last fall, again, just last fall, they did this. They were confidential about it and then came out and basically told us that this simulation was a realistic possibility. And it was going through a very specific way that they believe that they might take, which has China amassing ships in the South China Sea and then using some sort of big event, right, to then take out all of those little island bases and then take Taiwan, and then from Taiwan take us and take the rest of the world. But guess what? It wouldn't be just a front right there. It would be a multi-front. They have an ally Russia, which happens to be in a big dispute with Ukraine, and actually if they had their way, they would have all of it, and that would all be part of Russia. Well, they're also lining up all of their stuff. They're lining their borders. They are lining the Arctic with all sorts of gear. They're lining thousands of ships all over the world in different placements, key strategic placements. So tell me, how is this fear-mongering when, honestly, it's all right in front of us? The writing is on the wall. Now even mainstream is admitting the Arctic is packed and there is a huge military buildup. So people can say, if you tell this to somebody, that's fear-mongering, tell them to hit the snooze button again. Because what does it matter? If they don't want to watch, they don't have to. It's voluntary. All of this is voluntary. The whole point of this is to, for those who are already looking at it, who are already following this, you can follow me and we can look at it together. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have the future. And I try to back up every single thing I say with a source. And if it doesn't have a source, I clarify otherwise. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the news. Let's introduce Dex. Dex is my co-host / internet brother / radio DJ awesome guy.
That's a lot of slashes.
What's
going on? Adam?
We
Hello,
might.
Fam.
That was so many slashes. We might be categorized as a horror film.
That's great. No, what's up, Google fam? I'm doing great. Ready for this show, Adam. A lot of good stuff tonight.
Dex might be cutting out. He's got some internet issues over there in Georgia, so if he does, we'll work it out. You were a little digital there, but that's okay. On the website, every single article is there. You can go over and follow along, and remember to get our notifications. If you're not getting ours, if you're not getting theirs, get ours, because ours are reliable, and it's a push notification directly to your phone. NASA's Mars helicopter Ingenuity touches down on the red planet. So they say that they are not only they're there, but they've also launched this tiny little helicopter, which is kind of crazy in itself because I think that they have higher gravity there, so you would have to have kind of a more powerful thing. It says that NASA's Mars helicopter Ingenuity touched down on the surface of the red planet after being dropped by its mothership. I like how they put that. The Perseverance rover. And it says the space agency announced that late Saturday, the helicopter's first flight was over a week away. Hashtag Mars helicopter touchdown confirmed. Its 293-mile journey aboard the NASA Perseverance, or whatever it's called, ended with a final drop of 4 inches from the rover's belly to the surface of Mars today. Officials with NASA's Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, wrote on their Twitter. So, by the way, on the pictures of this, which was oddly enough, I don't know if we have, I wonder if it will have it on the original. What was funky to me is their sky was like totally clear, but there was like one streak across it. I almost thought, man, that would be crazy if they're already starting their little runs up there too. In fact, in the picture that I saw, I think it's a clip of this video, it looks like there was like a trail. Maybe atmospheric or something. Anyways, what do you think about that? Do you think that that's amazing? Do you think that that's not at all real? Or what are your thoughts on it? And then, of course, like a hypersonic missile, enigmatic black triangular object spotted in California skies. So yet another sighting of a black triangle in California. It says, while the blogger mused the alleged extraterrestrial nature of the phenomenon in question, some social media users suggested that it could have been a balloon. A peculiar phenomenon was spotted above the skies in Pasadena last month with blogger and UFO hunter extraordinaire Scott Ski Waring, which of course, it's crazy how much they use Scott's work. That's awesome. Suggesting a possible extraterrestrial craft sighting. Says the phenomenon in question, as depicted in a YouTube video, it says uploaded by Waring, appears to be a black, vaguely triangular shape. The blogger also pointed out how the object appeared to be rotating. Of course, rotating, the further alleged that it looked like a hypersonic missile that the USAF created, except this was hovering and moving very slowly. So, because we have not gotten permission from Scott, we are not going to show his work, but I would highly recommend for you to go over and check that video out if you want to see exactly what's going on with that. Of course, here is a screenshot of the somewhat, I don't even want to say what that could look like. You can go check it out yourself over on marfugelnews.com. And then we have a possible second breach at a toxic wastewater reservoir in Florida. So this is what I mentioned in my video earlier. If you haven't gone over to Marfugel News and saw that video, make sure to check it out. If you can, like it and pass it on. It's a short shareable clip where in Florida, potentially they could have this huge kind of wall of water that's toxic come towards them. Now, this isn't the nuclear radiation tsunami that Russia is doing. This is separate. So, Dex, didn't we cover the first kind of event with this, or?
I think it's all just recently come to light, and they declared a state of emergency. And when this article came out, they were looking at a potential second leak. And the real problem here is if this comes out into the water, it's going to hit into the Gulf, and the Gulf Stream will go around. And when I say around, it goes up the west side of Florida and then around like all the way over towards Texas, right? So that flow could take all of this and really hit all of those beaches all the way around the Gulf. So it's kind of a big deal, and they've got a state of emergency right now trying to figure out how they're going to manage this.
So obviously it's something that we need to follow for every step of the way. We'll keep you updated. We might do a short video over on Marfugel News, our sister channel, if there is an actual kind of update to this. But if you just want a better kind of description, it says a second possible breach has been spotted at a toxic wastewater reservoir that's on the brink of collapse in central Florida, authorities said on Monday. A drone spotted the potential leak at 2 a.m. Eastern as engineers and crew worked around the clock to pump wastewater to safety from the Piney Point Reservoir, about 40 miles south of Tampa. It says an infrared drone identified a signature that could indicate a second breach. It says that caused a temporary evacuation of engineers working on the site, Manatee County director said. And it says, but seepage rates remained steady overnight at Piney Point, adding that the engineers are back out at the site now, and they're reassuring that. Congressman Van Buchanan, out of Florida, said that he appreciated the work being done to pump water out of harm's way, but is still worried about a possible collapse. So this isn't news until it is. A lot of the things that happen, though, it's like we're reactive. We don't react until it's already happened and the disaster's already done. I think that they should, step up priorities and get this fixed and have it not happen again. That's a downside of having radioactive materials right next to water. It's kind of stupid. And then thank you so much, Martin Benjamin, for being the first one out, it looks like. And thank you for your support over on YouTube. Marietta Davis with generous $50 super chat. Thank you so much. Can't believe I'm catching a live show. I'm a longtime replay watcher, and I owe you so much for helping me be prepared when so many others weren't. Thank you, and I love the Fugel fam. Marietta Davis, thank you so much for your support, and I really do appreciate you. And like everyone else, I really do thank you for being here and being here for a long time, too. Thank you, Marietta. And then lots to go on, and everybody's going to keep telling you that you're crazy because you're pointing it out. You're not. This is all really happening. And again, most people are just going to get hit in the side of the head like a brick because they're not going to look at these possibilities. I firmly believe that this is something that's volunteer, that you go out and you try to find stuff like myself, right? You should have a choice. If you don't like that kind of stuff, you shouldn't watch. I've even told people that, are avid watchers that, obviously support the channel. I said, if this is stressing you out too much, don't watch. Because this is some scary stuff as far as some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about. And I do think that everything in the world has lined up to finally have something kind of a dam break. So if you don't agree, that's fine. That's why we all have our voice. You can start a YouTube channel and go talk about it. Brian Susmalich says, God bless you and Dex J and family. Love you guys. Thank you for the Ninja Genie over on D Live. And then Kishara. Email Dex already plans for third pan pokiness. Oh, yes. I like how you put that, too. Thank you for doing that. Bear Claws. Jumpmaster, Sandra in Texas Mountain, Lisa's over there. And we've got Pat's Place, Twisty. Awesome. Shiro. And then, of course, M. Menching, 11-month sub-streak. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. That is awesome. I think you are one of probably a small handful. A lot of people are actually at like 6 months. I see that. Never see 11-month streak with the Marfia badges. Kelly2334, thank you for your support. And the Badger, thank you for gifting out subs to Sunny Beach Girl. She deserves it. DRock33, thank you for following. And all of the new followers, if you follow during a live show, I will shout you out. I will find you and I will shout you out. Speaking of new subscribers over on YouTube, Ashley Desi 151, Denise Beresford, Tina Fabulous, JGS 37, Joe Del Burtwell, Angels Amongst Us, Mike Noose, and Stockson 8. Thank you for subscribing over last night. And then Little L, thank you. Sonia Anderson, thank you for joining me on Patreon. I appreciate that. And then Brad, thank you for pledging as well. Sean Carr as well. Thank you. If you want to help us in a different way and protect yourself, this is actually getting to the point where, I mean, if you don't know what the threat of an EMP is, then possibly might just want to open your eyes a little bit wider, because what is going on right now is every country is looking at preparations for some sort of massive either EMP or solar flare. In fact, there are stories coming out as late as yesterday talking about that we possibly could be due for a major, massive solar storm that could top all previous ones. Again, this is something that can help protect your devices, your car, your generators, your home, your boats, your RVs. Again, EMP Shield makes a different device for everybody, including the government. They've worked with DHS, DOD. They are military standard. They're Keystone tested. And, of course, they are now on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. And then, of course, it protects against all three phases of an E1, E2, and E3, and solar flare protection. Even protects your house or device or car against lightning. Go to marfugelnews.com/EMP. Right now, there is the best sale that they've had since last Black Friday, in fact, where you get to combine our normal, all the time $50 device off with theirs. So any sale that they have got going on, you can always combine that with our $50 off. I think, in fact, Bones, one of our mods, just got a screaming deal. So awesome deals going on right now. Go to marfugelnews.com/EMP. And then, of course, we're going to go over the satellite images. Dex, again, with everything going on, I hate seeing that. I hate seeing that people are still, like, totally jammed in this, like, thought that, you know, it's already as worse as it can get. That's not true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, we've talked about the actions that the complex takes, right? And they do it all the time, over and over again. And it does have an impact, and you need to understand what those may or may not be, how big they may or may not be, and what kind of impact it's going to have on you. And that's why we talk about these things, so that we can be ready for it, we can be not scared of it, and we can be prepared for it, right? That's the whole
ahead
point.
Of the curve.
Exactly.
Every single event that's ever happened has had a pre-event that has happened. I also want to mention everybody needs to go back and watch about that Timothy Cunningham. I'm telling you, if your gut says you're right, then you're right. The day he disappeared, he told his neighbor to tell his wife, does she have my phone number? And if she does, to delete it. That is really scary, considering what he responded to, what kind of thing. And they just let it go. It just went to sleep right when they found him. And they found him, of course, they found him, right? And apparently he took his own by drowning. That's just doesn't really happen in my book, but whatever. Again, the position that he held and what he responded to and what he responded to globally would have been, he would have been all over this current event right now. It's kind of crazy. And he was very prolific as far as, it was very controversial, his thoughts on the jib. So very much crazy stuff. And then when you go back, in fact, around that same time, the U.S. invested $2.8 billion to basically advocate or to grab $2.8 billion worth of smallpox Vs, right? And smallpox has been eradicated since 1980, or officially since 1981 or 82. Gone, eradicated, means the only form of it is in a lab. Guess what? Those two labs that have it, Atlanta, of course, in Georgia, and then the other one in Russia. And that Russian one, right before all this went down, had an explosion. Kind of funky. Had a explosion. Yeah. And it actually punctured through the wall, and it was not as secure as most people said. And they go, well, the WHO actually said that basically that those are the only two locations with Ebola, with smallpox, with all this crazy stuff. And then all of a sudden, we had some crazy stuff go down. So you can go look at that. It was within 2 weeks of us investing in fact, we invested in smallpox before that happened by 2 weeks. Kind of odd, considering there's only 2 places that have it. One of them has a really weird scenario with one of their lead people that responds to that, and the other has a really weird... There's a lot of things that it's like you look at, like the Chinese amphibious assault carrier, a very specific type of boat, catching fire in the port and being on fire for 5 days, even though it's a steel ship, there's not really much to just keep flaming up. And then it just so happens that a U.S. assault carrier, amphibious assault carrier, same kind of very specific type of ship that has, the ability to launch out boats that would go island hopping, that caught fire for 5 days in port, not at battle. Those 2 things, it's like, well, of course something fishy might have happened right there. They say, no, it's not. And then people just go, okay, your gut feeling on most of this is probably right. And I'll just leave it to you to have your own opinion about that kind of stuff. On this, people talked about this for years. They said, oh, they've got bases up there. Well, people basically looked down at this like it was, rumors. Just like the whole Walmart thing was a rumor and all this other stuff was rumors. And it's just, fringe corners of the internet. Well, guess what? It is now over a year now that we've kind of more found out about these bases. And actually, before that, we kind of knew. Now they have satellite images of massive military buildup. They are testing all of their subs, all of their missiles. What the hell is going on? Just last year, they did all these tests where they had people drilled, and in Moscow had almost 40,000 people go into bunkers. They're doing drills like that. Well, we are just so focused on calling everything fear-mongering that we don't think anything is going to happen. Just kind of toe the line. Satellite images show huge Russian military buildup in the Arctic. Of course, huge bases, a ton of subs, and of course, a ton of Navy. Russia is amassing, and again, that word, amassing. Remember, China is amassing ships in the South China Sea. Russia is amassing unprecedented military might in the Arctic and testing its newest weapons in a region freshly ice-free due to the emergency, and I'll highlight that for you. In a bid to secure its northern coast and open up a key shipping route from Asia to Europe. And it says weapons experts and Western officials have expressed particular concern about one Russia super weapon. It says that the Poseidon 2M39 torpedo is basically a run by a actual nuclear a nuclear reactor, and this thing can cause a tsunami, but not any tsunami, up to 300 feet tsunami waves with radioactive water. So even if you are at the very end of it and it goes across your legs or something, like at the beach when you're walking and a rogue wave comes up and gets you on the ankles, that water would then have radioactive isotopes in it and totally burn your feet. That kind of wave. It says that the Poseidon 2M39 torpedo, development of the torpedo is moving fast, with the Russian president requesting an update on a, quote, key stage of the tests in February from his defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, with further tests planned this year, according to multiple reports in state media. It says the unmanned stealth torpedo is powered by a nuclear reactor and intended by Russian designers to sneak past the coastal defenses. It says, like those of the U.S. on the seafloor, it says the device is intended to deliver a warhead of multiple megatons, according to Russian officials, causing radioactive waves that would render swaths of the target coastline uninhabitable for decades. Now, that sounds a whole lot like what they actually drilled for China using in the South China Sea. I just wonder if they could hit us from both sides all at the same time. It says in November, Christopher A. Ford, then Assistant Secretary of State for International Security and Non-Proliferation, said that the Poseidon is designed to inundate U.S. coastal cities with radioactive tsunamis. It sounds like science fiction, but this is science fact now. And if you think that this is never going to be used, well, I hope it's not. I hope you're right. Martin Benjamin, thanks. Says, glad to catch the live show tonight. It's been a while, Marf. Hope all is well. You and Dex are simply awesome. The Fugle fam is by far the best community on YouTube. Well, thank you, and that does mean a lot. Taffy Royale, thank you so much for your support tonight. I appreciate that. You can always write a message there if you would like. And then, of course, thank everybody that has come tonight. I hope all of you get a chance to check the video out over on Marfugle News. Get it rolling, get it trending. Kelly2334, thank you so much. KG Stasic says, God bless you, Adam and Dex. And then, woohoo, 6-month anniversary sub, Rapture Soon 2020. Thank you, Rapture Soon. Thank you for sticking around, and thank you for being at almost every show. And holy moly.
This tune will be stuck in your head. Marfugle News, Marfugle News. This tune will be stuck in your head.
That was for The Truth Is Out There, who just bestowed the highest compliment on DLive, a Ninjet. The Truth Is Out There says, missed you all this week. Had a rough week, so good to be back with my Fugle fam. Much love to you all. The Truth Is Out There, thank you so much, and thank you for being a huge supporter of the channel. Seriously, we do appreciate it. We are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network, and it is rough out there for most of the time. God bless you, Marfia Squad. Stay positive. God wins. Carolina Roots. Sorry about that. Carolina Roots 74. What do you think about this? Do you think that this is all going to be sci-fi, that this is just stupid and we shouldn't worry about it? Or do you think that it could be part of a bigger plan to actually take, the whole thing?
I want to know how they're going to test it. They're going to test it, right? They're at the testing stage. What is that going to look like? How do they test
I just wonder if they will test it just like a medicine or something, where you do 1 milligram and then... they've already tested 1 milligram, it's safe, or they've already tested that, and then they just, like a recipe, make it 5 times bigger. So what if they do a mini test, and then just make the exact same weapon only 10 times stronger? So they know the mini effect of it, so they do it, say, on a small scale up in the Arctic, which we already have pictures of them blowing up ice and doing all these weird things. Do you think that would be... I mean, I guess it would be different on a scale. What if they did it so big they didn't even know how big it would be? That's how most of the tests have gone with some of our stuff. We didn't know what a Moab would do until we tested it.
Yeah, exactly. It just blows my mind how they're going to test that. I'm waiting. We'll probably hear about it as it comes out, right? There'll be some sort of report, or it'll be delayed. But yeah, we'll keep our ears and eyes open.
And then, of course, U.S. allies threatened by Russian nuke under B-Man. It says that Russia's growing nuclear arsenal and President B in action on nuclear says that we may put American allies in grave danger. The R side of the aisle says, and defense experts say. Remember, this is real weird that there's even a side on this. This should be, bipartisan, but it's not. There is not a single D on the China task force, which I think is really weird. They said that they would play a part, and then they didn't. They actually backed out last minute when they formed that. And when you actually look at the stuff that has gone to Congress, the paperwork on what China has been doing, it is cut and dry. They're like, this is our biggest thing right now. Not any of this little stuff in the middle E, not any of this. It's them. It's when your gut thinks something, it's probably right. That's what I've found. And I know because afterwards that event happens and you go, my gut said that was going to happen. I think people don't think that these big events can happen, like that it's just so big, unimaginable. They think, it can never happen to me. Or to us. Vladimir, surging nuclear stockpile and military buildup leaves NATO allies all the more in need of protection from the U.S. military, according to Alan Mendoza, the executive director of Henry Jackson Society, a British think tank. And it says that Mendoza said that Europe needs more than just Mr. B's harsh words for Putin's regime, particularly as the D side of the aisle weighs Pentagon cuts and advocate against America's nuclear capabilities. It says the world is going to get more rather than less dangerous. That should surely reflect itself back into the U.S. defense policy. Mendoza said, what actually needs to be felt in Europe is that the U.S. will be there to support its NATO allies on the front lines. We're talking about, and they're setting up for a massive world conflict. And people are still thinking, oh, it's nothing. They think it's all going to be diffused at the last second every single time. All we need is one mess up, and it pops off.
Well, yeah, take the sides out of this, like the right and the left on this, and just think about the fact that these are our allies, and they're saying that, and they're the ones struggling right now with all of this intrusion that's happening. We've seen the subs come by, we've seen the flyovers, we've rolled jets out 10 times in one day for NATO, right? They're really, they're on the front line. They're really concerned, right? Everybody in Europe.
And that's the thing. Oh, and by the way, we have some people. I don't know if Gem's here tonight, but we have some of the. Yep, Gem's of course here. Thank you so much for watching. How is it in Europe? Are they talking about this on your more localized news or your country's news outlets? Are they posting about this more? Because from what I've heard, they are taking it extremely serious. And I mean, the U.S. command over there, it's on its highest level, where they actually have it listed as their highest level of alert, where it is possible imminent crisis. Imminent. I don't know how they put in possible and imminent next to each other, because imminent means like it's going to happen, and possible. So it's possibly, definitely going to happen, if you just take the word straight out of that. I don't get it, but they are at the highest alert level. So they say basically anything goes wrong, it is a guaranteed crisis. That is not good. Al Luna 3377, thank you for your massive support. Thank you for sticking around for years. I appreciate you. Kelly 2334 and Queen BTP. I appreciate all you guys do. Thank you. And Scooby Doo Do Right, Belina, thank you everybody for sticking around. What do you think about this as far as the level that we have right now and everything that is going on all around us? And then we have the BP arrests 2 T suspects in California amid migrant surge. It says that the BP announced Monday that agents arrested 2 men who were on the FBI's T watch list over the past 2 months, confirming that the R lawmakers reports that T suspects were attempting to sneak into the country as part of the surge. Well, what do you know, Dex? Is that kind of what...
We've said this. We said this was going to happen. We warned about it. We've talked about this, I don't know, for a long time now. And we keep hearing, oh, it's a concern, it's a concern. Now, boom, here's the proof.
Which, by the way, you can go back to our website, and this is what is great, and this is a great point to remind you. Since we archive all of the stories on our website for the last year and a half, you can go back and you go, hey, Marfugel talked about this, or they talked about this on Marfugel News. You can go to the website, and up in the corner there's a search button, and when you search, so like we can actually search sleeper cells. And look at this. All of these shows talked about it. 52 targets, T-Man, is WW3, the search is on. We've talked about the sleeper cells and everything about it. So then when you go to this page, you'll then be able to see all of the articles we covered January 8th, 2019. So bam, look at that. Isn't that freaking sweet? And then, oh my gosh, see, and this is where you find stuff. You go back through and you see, says UK Foreign Secretary says Soleimani's job was to take out Western troops legitimately in the Middle East, like in... this actually had a piece in it, and I remember covering this. They are basically lining up, and it's a massive operation, and they say that they are trying to stop it every which way they can. But it is happening. Even though Soleimani was taken out, his second-hand man, that same day they tried to take out both of them, they missed on the second-hand man, on the second in command. So they've continued that plan, and now they're even more pissed. It's like a beehive that was hit with a stick, and it's like they went to go attack a person, and then somebody hit the queen with a stick and killed it. So now they're even more pissed. So think what you may, but we have so many different angles that this could go bad. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. So again, this is confirmation of exactly what we said, and we're not looking for a pat on the back. We're just showing you that, a lot of the stuff that we talk about here, because of the way that we do it and because of the people that are in our audience and the military, the amount of military in our group, we are on it because we don't try to say something unless we really, really have a lot pointing towards it. And that's why it ends up happening. So, pretty crazy stuff. Now they've confirmed that there's been sleepers coming across up there. Oh, and just to remind you real quick, there was confirmation that China and Russia are collaborating south of our border. So if you're in Europe, that's less effect of that doesn't affect you as much. With swarms of ships, Beijing tightens its grip on the South China Sea. The Chinese ships settled in like unwanted guests who wouldn't leave. As the day passed, more appeared they were simply fishing boats, right? That's what China said. Though they did not appear to be fishing. Dozens even lashed themselves together in neat rows, seeking shelter. It was claimed from storms that never came. Not long ago, China asserted its claims on the South China Sea by building and fortifying artificial islands in waters also claimed by Vietnam, Philippines, and Malaysia. Its strategy now is to reinforce those outposts by swarming the disputed waters with vessels, effectively defying the other countries to expel them. They are doing a land grab or a water grab right now. They are conquering places. It says the goal is to accomplish by overwhelming presence what it has been unable to do through diplomacy or international law. And to an extent, it appears to be working. Beijing pretty clearly thinks that if it uses enough coercion and pressure over a long enough period of time, it will squeeze the Southeast Asians out. The director of the Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, which tracks developments in the South China Sea, says it's insidious. It says China's actions reflect the country's growing confidence under its leader, Xi Jinping, that they could test the new Xi administration as well as Beijing's neighbors in the South China Sea, who are increasingly dependent on China's strong economy and supply of CNV scenes. It says the latest incident has unfolded in recent weeks around Whitsun Reef, a boomerang-shaped feature that only emerges above water at low tide. At one point of March, 220 Chinese ships were reported to be anchored around the reef, prompting protests from Vietnam and the Philippines, which both have claims there, and the United States. So they built land where there wasn't. They grabbed dirt from the bottom of the sea. They made these islands. That didn't work. Now they're doing it by force. Either way, they are trying to do modern day 2021 land grabs and own more of the earth. I can only tell you where it goes in the future as they get more powerful and as they grow their military. They've already surpassed our Navy. Not by a couple ships, not by like 50, almost 130 more ships than we have now. And that happened in what time frame? Oh, yeah, like a year and a half. They went from being behind to all of a sudden everything was completed and boom, they are ahead of us. And I told you 3 years ago that I knew that they were making secret ships. And this was from all the military stuff that was coming in. And guess what? It ended up, we got confirmation last year. We had pictures of it from land. They were covering from satellites these giant manufacturing facilities that were making these giant Navy ships. And you could not see it from the sky. We told you this, and nobody listened. You guys did. And sure as hell, now they surpassed us. That's what's in the China Task Force. That's what's all over the place. So people can go along and say, oh, it's fear-mongering. But guess what? So is that, right? And so was 4 months before this event happened. So was saying that, all of these countries were involved, that we would be deployed on U.S. soil, all this kind of stuff. It all ended up happening. Carolina Roots, Marfugel News is the best media source. Well, thank you so much, Carolina. And, of course, Kelly2324 and Queen BTP. I appreciate you as well. Tall Drink of Water, Scooby-Doo, Do-Right, and Gacy. Thank you. Craziness ensues. Dex, as far as this goes, by the way, they have maritime militia on these boats. They own everything. In China, they can grab anything and say, hey, this is the Chinese government now.
Absolutely. And this task force has gone in and they've identified 254 ships that were not fishing, that they said were part of that maritime militia. So, yeah, they've gone in and realized that there's a civilian force that is using the guise of being fishing, and then that they're really not that. They are really maritime militia.
And remember, the drill that we talked about is a 10-year plan. So at the very least, in the next 10 years, what if they are setting up the small plays? What if the U.S. knows exactly what they're planning on doing, and they did a simulation because they realized that this is what is being set up? They are, if they amass and they get that part of the ocean, then they have that land. They can then put more and more there. They can put more bases, and then they can do their final kind of, boom. People think that China would not invade other places in the world. History is going to repeat itself, and people are going to be sadly left behind. Walk with me, 76. Jissi Haku Ben David declared during Passover. Look it up. Jesus is coming. Walk with me. I will definitely look it up. Koa D. Huge and absolute crazy support there. If you made a mistake there, make sure you handle that. We have no problems with you undoing that if you accidentally did an extra 0. Thank you, Koa D. And then Doc Bill. Super weapon that reportedly poses the biggest threat to the U.S. military. Yes. Yeah. Poseidon. And then Martin Benjamin, thank you again. Connie says, Jesus will save those who have put their trust in him. To God be the glory in my story. He is coming soon. Please open your heart to Jesus. Connie, I love you. Thank you so much. Liz LaMarche, even in all from DM Walken and I. Marfugel News, the only news we use. Thanks for keeping us informed. Well, thank you, Liz LaMarche, and thank you for sticking with me for years. Let's see here. And then we have how the U.S. Air Force is preparing for third world conflict. This is the national interest. This isn't, this isn't a tabloid. These are all, and again, people say mainstream this, mainstream that. Mainstream has always, and if you look at any major event, they have done little pieces basically guiding your brain to what is about to happen. The thing is people don't realize that those are meant to get you okay with these. They're meant to get you okay and accept that this is going to happen, especially when the government knows it's going to happen in the near future. There's only 6 families that own all media, and therefore you've got every piece of media basically guiding you towards one direction. One will have a little tiny piece that nudges this part of your arm. One will have a little piece that will guard you this. And then soon enough, it's like the show Wipeout or whatever, you're going through the box that they want you to go through. You've shaped your body in the hole, and you've gone exactly where they want you to go. Right now, they are telling us that it is going to be a conflict, and it is going to happen whether B or T or any of these people are in office. This is above these guys. We're at a scale where the puppeteers are doing the actual puppeteering right now. The Air Force has been replicating major great power air war in a precise fashion in presenting attacking forces with a complex, interwoven set of variables, threats, and challenges they would likely be to face in combat. It is all part of service's regular flag exercise, which pits Air Force platforms, assets, and war formations against a sophisticated, well-armed red team Adversary equipped with advanced air defenses, sophisticated enemy aircraft likely to resemble fifth-generation rivals, and other kinds of multi-domain scenarios the service would likely encounter in conflict. It says an Air Force report says that the conflict tactics introduced during FLAG were designed to mimic great power enemies. So, again, anything around the word flag is very highly sensitive. So just highlight there. With advanced problem sets intended to prepare the service and allies for a new generation of multi-domain conflict. Though aerial adversary tactics continue to be a key focus in hack scenarios, space and cyberspace threats are interwoven to ensure participants are prepared to react and overcome the full array of adversary impediments to mission success. So part of what they're talking about as well is you also have this whole other thing that's going on. On top of physical force, they can hit with cyber attacks, and cyber attacks can knock out grids. Cyber attacks can mess with our infrastructure. Cyber attacks can mess with our ships. Think about if just hypothetically that Suez boat was just kind of a small-scale EMP type thing that knocked its power out. Now, remember, official story says that, actually, I don't think they even have an exact reason. They said they don't know why it lost power and did it. At very first, everybody was saying that it was a ship-wide blackout that was used in multiple sources, and they said it was a ship-wide blackout. How would you have a ship-wide blackout? I don't know. Could it possibly be an EMP? Those ships are like mini cities. They're so huge and they have so much power running through them. Dex, what do you think as far as...
Well, yeah, absolutely. The other thing that they talk about in here is practicing for having no GPS, and they're expecting that the satellite system is going to be taken down. The way that's going to happen, it's not like they're just going to magically, go up there and take down, 16, 25, 35, 150 satellites. It's a thing like an EMP is going to go off, and it will actually disrupt them all or take them out in one fell swoop, right? That type of scenario that you have to then deal with is how do you then navigate? Like, their equipment is hardened. They have things like, EMP shield or equivalents in their hardware, presumably. How do you then continue when you don't have GPS, when you don't have these other things, when you don't have light, right? We've talked about them in darkness, and they're talking specifically in here in this training with the Air Force is how to deal with no GPS.
And this is exactly what we talked about over a year and a half ago, possibly 2 years ago. This might be right when Dex started with me, talking about all of the drills that they've done, flying jets without GPS, without their systems. Whole parts of the United States jammed, so a regular civilian can't access GPS because they're doing military flyovers over above, and they have to work with no light, no nothing, and no GPS. They are drilling. Every base has like a section wing. They are drilling to deal with no power, no electricity, and no light. What do you think the most likely reason for that is? Possibly because that is the most likely and most probable scenario. That is why they're drilling for it, and they're going to continue to drill for it until it happens. But people assume that everything is going to constantly be taken care of. In our heads, we all think, oh, well, they'll figure it out, and they don't want to do that because then millions would do this or millions would do that. Yeah, and guess where they'll be? The people that are making the decisions that would take millions of lives, they're not going to be in the front lines. They're not going to be even on the back lines. They're going to be sitting in their nice little castles. Some of the unlucky lower ones that know what's going on, they might be a little bit closer, but when it gets hairy, they'll be able to get evacuated by helicopters somewhere a little bit further away. We're talking about a world conflict on a scale that no one has ever seen before, and we're also talking about the lights going out permanently. The actual U.S. Department of Homeland Security told every United States civilian that you should have 6 months to a year of food and water. So why don't we? If we did, guess what? They say 90% of us would perish if the lights went out in just the U.S. Now imagine Europe or any other these other places. By the way, Europe, Jam and all of the rest in Europe, you had a very close call. You almost had all of your power go out there. If that happened on a long-term scale type thing, 90% of us would perish, at least in the U.S. They did a study, 90%. And what is that? That's because we would not have access to fresh and clean water. That is why it is stupid. Those are preventable deaths that would not happen if videos like this got people to prepare just a little bit more. So when people say, oh, it's BS fear-mongering, well, guess what? Even if the power goes off because of a tornado and somebody's more prepared because of this channel, that's a good thing. I don't see a downside to preparing. There is not a single downside to having extra gear. Right, Dex?
100%. 1,000%.
So take a look at this article. It is right there and clean, just boom, right in front of your face. If you want to protect yourself in a cyber world that is obviously having a lot of attackers in all different directions, I'd highly recommend going with Nord. NordVPN is our affiliate, and we chose them very specifically because they were so highly rated, but also this is the easiest program to use. NordVPN, once it's downloaded, it is one of the simplest virtual private networks you can find. You just turn an on switch on. You can do more advanced stuff and all that. You can put yourself in a certain country if you want to see that country's Netflix videos, or if you want to put yourself somewhere else and mess around. Whatever you want to do with it, that's up to you. But there is an easy mode that just has a little on and off button like a light switch, and that protects you. It hides your IP address, or it can hide your cell phone address. It can hide your tablet. Again, this is one plan for up to 6 devices. And again, that one plan covers 6 of them. So you, your wife or husband, again, your kids, all of their devices could be covered by this. Check it out, marfugelnews.com/VPN. Make sure to use the special code MARFUGEL. It will not only help us out, but you will get a massive discount. It helps our channel. We are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network, and we appreciate your support. So we are preparing. Tell us what you think. And then, of course, the VAT digs a legal tunnel to exhume King David's DNA and bring him back to life. This is some crazy stuff. Again, this is more of a go to marfugelnews.com and check this out. But it says the rabbi has alleged a sinister plot behind the illegal construction of a passage beneath the church in Jerusalem as groups demand legal action against the tunnel. This is just like some super, super crazy stuff. And again, most of the news today, most of the news just in general in 2021 sounds like it's out of a movie or out of a Da Vinci Code flick. It's insanity. Dex, if you have anything on that, please chime in.
This story just completely blew my mind. When I read it, it was just like, wow. Yeah, the hypothesis is the tunnel was there for transportation from one building to another. It's 1,970 feet, 5 feet wide, but that's the what they're saying it's for. But then the other people are saying no. A, you shouldn't have done it, and B, we know you're going through artifacts and digging things up and getting to things you shouldn't get to, and doing it for the purposes of getting DNA. Wow.
Why would they do that? Are they trying to clone?
It claims they're trying. The claim is that the V is trying to clone.
This is like some otherworldly, like mummy movie stuff in real life. Like they're going to use CERN and clone King David in like reverse time or something. This is scary stuff, and I don't even know what to say about that. El Michelle says, I'm not too late. Good to see you. El Michelle, thank you for coming here. Jim Gillespie. We've got a lot of new names in here. Thank you so much. You got this. Wash hands. Jim Gillespie. Darren, thank you for being here. Sherry B, where did you hear about ears ringing? Oh, people are talking about the ears ringing. That's a bad one. I get it all the time, especially since the new generation. Survival Living, save some for me, says Bones. WT, we've got RJ Roll, Geisy, good grief. You and Quali, you unequally flawed. I love it. Avel Low. We've got lots of new names. Thank you guys for coming, and thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And make sure to go check out our other channel if you have not, if you have the time. 4.0 magnitude earthquake shakes Lenox. A 4.0 magnitude earthquake rattled the South Los Angeles area, community of Lenox, early Monday morning. That is kind of a scary area because of what is there. You've got multiple faults that are lining up. The earthquake occurred at 4:40 a.m., the epicenter of Century Boulevard and Doty Avenue. Right under the city. It had been preceded by a 3.3, which hit at 4:15 a.m. Also in Lenox, with the epicenter of West 104th Street and Dixon Avenue. It says at least 190 people reported the feeling of a quake at 4:40 a.m., according to USGS Felt report page. There was no immediate word of any damage or injuries. On Sunday afternoon, a 3.4 magnitude earthquake rattled the Riverside County of Beaumont. Again, the area of this in Los Angeles and then California has several of these explosive kind of ticking time booms that are just waiting to go off. There's one that's actually only a 7.0, and I say only, that's a massive giant earthquake. But, say a 7 compared to a 9 is 1,000 times stronger than a 7. It goes up exponentially. But a 7 in a urban area like that is just as bad as a 9 in a country area. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. So make sure to have your supplies ready in California, West Coast in general. You should have all of that lined up. And then, of course, FBI warns Americans who use the fake passports may be breaking the law. And, of course, that's the special kind of passports that all of us will have to have tattooed on our hand or on our forehead or, in our pockets. Says FBI is pledging to go after people who make or buy fake record cards. Says President J.B. Admin has been working with major corporations to establish a nationwide V passport. And last month, New York rolled out its own V passport. And, of course, which state residents will need to show in order to get into most sports and entertainment venues. So you have to put something inside your body to go and be like everyone else. Okay. Dex, we'll leave this on the website. Everybody can go over there. Highly recommend you go there for this and others. Can you explain? We've got some awesome stuff on the website as well. Underneath.
Yeah, this is just like a precursor to what's on the website. We go out and we find and we curate lots of other news that's going on, a lot of things that may be too hot for TV, but we get it, we put it together, and it's right there. It's every show has a bonus, and you're missing out if you're not heading over to marfugelnews.com. So real simple, go to marfugelnews.com, look for the thumbnail on this show, scroll down till you get to the web-only content, and there's everything else, all of your bonus stuff. It's right there.
So when you go here, of course, you navigate by the thumbnails, troubling developments, and then when you go to this, boom, it's going to pull up all of that. And then at the very bottom, just as Dex said, we have a ton of too hot for TV type stories, and it's all been collected by hand for you. We search the all ends of the internet to find these. So make sure to go over here. Dex does an amazing job putting this all together on the website. And then you have tons of content.
There's even fishnet stockings on there. I'll leave it at that. Fishnet stockings. Some of you may know what I'm talking about.
You just peeked a couple people and they're like, what? And then they're going to find out it's
fishnet stockings. Go look. Yeah. You'll find it.
Yep. That was a good teaser. And there's blue donkeys. I'm just kidding. There's no blue donkey. But actually, there could be. Check. Truth is out there. I agree with you. I will never either, as long as I can. Marvin Boggs. The world smells weakness here. We, the people, smell weakness here. Our enemies smell it, and they will use it to their advantage. It is the pungent odor of fear that they can destroy us with. Fear is unacceptable. Exactly. Don't fearmonger. You can't fearmonger if you're not afraid. Repent because my time is near. Thus saith the Lord, says Cameron Ward and Forever Charlie. Thank you so much for your support. You can always write something there. Thank you, everybody that supported today's show. Tomorrow, we will have a more normal show with calls. Remember, the number is 224-400 MARF. Again, that's 224-400 MARF. Make sure to call in tomorrow. I'd love to hear from you. And then, of course, we'll be doing a quick shoutro, and then we'll be heading over to D-Live for the rest of the shoutro. We usually cut D-Live after about 5 minutes. So I'll be saying thank you to the people like Koa D, who did absolutely crazy support tonight. Thank you so much over on YouTube. Thank you forever, Charlie, Liz, LaMarche. You guys will all be called out in the shoutro, so thank you. Dex, anything that you want to add before we go?
Yeah, just to clarify, we'll cut to D Live, not cut D Live. Didn't want everybody to freak out there.
Oh, yeah.
Cut to D Live in 5 minutes.
If you're not following us over on D Live, you need to follow us over there. Usually, we're going to be doing some panels over there as well that are more kind of just live, talking with other creators and other people, getting people on. And then we will be doing a panel here with my mods. Most of them have been with me for the whole time of this channel. Some great people. And then we have Prepper Minutes coming up. We have all sorts of great stuff. Make sure to remember to go over to the website and sign up for those notifications and check out Nord, EMP, all of that. If you want to support us via PayPal or anything like that, you can go there as well on the right side of any of their pages. Thank you. Much love. And, of course, be safe. Kelly2334, be prepared. Gone Girl 777. Susan Donahue, Marf out.
Marfugal News. This tune will be stuck in your head. Marfugal News. Marfugal News. This tune will be stuck in your head. Marfugal News. Marfugal News. Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. Let's make a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. Every single day when we go on, and we will say, I just wanna fly. Me and my friend Susan Donahue, everybody loves you. Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. My friends like that JC88 and everybody wanna play. Veteran Steve and Gone Girl True, Hippo 7, I love you. Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. The truth is out there, everybody cares about you and recalcitrant. We will dance in the moonlight. Soon we'll be stuck in your head. Marfugal News. Marfugal News. I've got to see him walking the Stataletti, going right back like you all so jelly. I'm in the end of recalcitrant. All of the top of them, people's apart. Thank you for being here all more. I love you, you love us. Let's keep it just us. This tune will be stuck in your head. Marfugal News. Marfugal News. In God we trust, peaceful waters, Carolina, Route 72. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, right. GTSY, going and fly. Marfugal News. Katie, you like it, man. Now, Carolina roots and everybody fine. Marfugal News. No Keystone, no channel, gonna bring back. Not to wear offline, no out on the back. Go to outside and everybody now. This tune will be stuck in your head. Marfugal News. Marfugal News. Gotta sue his a high, bring it on the high, bring it on the man with the hard hand. No Keystone Channel, got the flannel, lit as a stall, got it so cool, right?
More frugal news.
The PTL on the style, gonna bring it back like a cat to fly. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
This tune will be stuck in your head. More frugal news. More frugal news.
Lamont to rob you so okay, well bye, it's alright.
More frugal news. This tune will be stuck in your head. More frugal news. More frugal news.
Let's build a bridge that we walk, a walk that we take every single day. Yeah, 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 yeah. We do fun size of kind, or none of mine, a brilliant, the best, and a both and a band. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mr. Conholly, oh, Janet Hawkins, and only low, ring on the car in Brahms. Karen Abrams, on the Sahams, bring it to my body, oh, Chevy, I'm go, yo, yo. Chuck on the Norris, I bring it on the chorus, oh, yes, I like, oh, that's a Boris, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, let's see it.